Let's talk about the events of the first Static Shock movie in my DC cinematic universe. Now, I'm not sure if you guys noticed this, but I am one of the whitest motherfuckers I've ever seen in my entire life. So I have not really written a lot of this. I have basic plot points to cover because I don't think there's any way that I could lend any credibility or believability to the story of a black kid growing up in these conditions. I got nothing. Virgil Hawkins lives in Dakota City, and his best friend is a boy named Richie Foley. They both attend McDuffie High School. Virgil is very, very smart, but he's picked on by the school bully, a man by the name of Francis Stone. One day, when Francis is particularly beating this guy pretty badly, Francis himself is stopped and beaten up by a man named Ivan Evans, who later becomes Ebon. He is the head of a gang in Dakota City, and he did this so he could sort of coerce Virgil into joining the gang. Virgil, of course, refuses and does not want to join, but Ivan makes it very clear that Virgil does not have a choice in this matter. On the night he was supposed to meet up with the gang for an attack against an enemy gang, the gang that Francis was a member of, Virgil was staying home to skip the meetup. But then his father tells him the story about this weird purple car that kept revving its engine outside of his office all day. And Static knows whose car that is. That's Ivan's car. That was a threat to Static's dad's life. So Virgil leaves and heads to this meetup, but he gets there too late. The shootout has started, and Static gets there just in time for the police to fire a strange type of gas grenade at the riot. This gas infects everyone around, and anyone with a metagene gets their metagene activated. You get a little bit of montage of him being very, very sick and then waking up totally fine. Just think, fucking like every Spider-Man transformation ever. Then we get the fun montage of, his electric powers starting and Static stuff clinging to him and magnetic things working weird around him. And then we get the cool montage of him and Richie working together, trying to figure out how he can do his powers, what his limits are, how to use them really cool. Richie, who is a very, very smart boy, helps Static out by making him a whole bunch of gear. For instance, the fucking awesome board that this dude surfs around on. So you just throw it down, zap it with electricity, and it grows into a big old disc, and he hops on it, and he can levitate himself around. We get that awesome montage, but the whole time this isn't being framed as him wanting to become a hero. It's being framed as him just wanting to learn how to use these dope new powers that he has. But then the other Bang Babies, the gang members that got the gas shot at them, they also start developing powers, and they start committing crimes with them. When Static realizes there really isn't a good system in place to stop superpowered criminals like this, he steps in. And the first person he takes down in this movie would be Hot Streak, who immediately after getting powers, the only one of his gang who developed powers, he just went nuts and started blowing shit up and melting things. That power went straight to Francis's head, and he just went on a fucking crime spree with it, like a violent one. And so Static has to suit up and stop him. During this movie, I would also want this to be Richie's coming out, because the character of Richie Foley was intended to be gay in the show. So in my movie, Richie's going to be gay. He's going to come out to his dad, and we're going to get his bigoted father from the animated series, and then we're going to get word for word the speech that Robert Hawkins, Virgil's dad, gives Richie's dad in that show, because it's fucking spectacular. Richie is going to leave his home and come to stay with the Hawkinses. And then after Static has taken down Hot Streak with no real big competition left, this is when Ebon, Ivan Evans, the man who tried to force him to join a gang, makes his big move. He developed superpowers because of this gas, his brother did, and like 9 other members of their gang. I'm talking like we're gonna get Kanga and Shiv and Puff and just like a bunch of the cool Bang Babies with the coolest powers from the original series and a couple from the comics. And my goal there is I want it to feel very much kind of like a Sinister Six moment of it's a whole bunch of villains all attacking shit at once, and just Static by himself trying to stop it. And he does, because he's fucking superhero Static Shock. He beats the shit out of those guys. He does some cool magnetic manipulation shit. He shoots lightning bolts. He's using all of his powers. He's doing shit he didn't even know he could do. And he saves the city and becomes an amazing hero in his own right. And at the end of the movie, his dad, Robert Hawkins, finds out his son is Static. And we end with the fun little sort of cliffhanger thing of his dad being kind of upset that his son didn't tell him, his dad being worried, wanting his son to be safe, especially after the loss of their mom. And we finally get the fun little teaser ending of his father telling him, "You need to call your Uncle Jefferson." Jefferson Pierce, baby, is a little teaser for Black Lightning. And that's the first Static movie. Again, I don't have too many details or anything like that because I'm not the one who should be writing a Static movie. That ain't my place.